Have you ever felt a silence so profound it swallowed the world whole? A sudden absence that rearranges the very air you breathe. It happened on a day like any other, a day brimming with the illusion of endless tomorrows. Breaking news flashed across screens. Former One Direction singer Liam Payne found dead at a hotel in Buenos Aires. The shockwave wasn't just news. It felt like a physical blow, a fracturing of something precious. I wanted to understand. I wanted to know why Kate, someone whose life became inextricably linked with his, chose to share her story and why now. I wanted to know how she found out, on the day the world lost Liam, a day that was supposed to be filled with a different kind of joy. Kate, thank you for being here. It takes an unimaginable strength to open your heart after a loss like this. How are you doing today? It's a question I know feels impossibly large. Thanks for having me. Honestly, it's complicated. There isn't a good answer. I think the best I can offer is, I'm doing okay. I have harder days and better days. Each day doesn't necessarily get better, but each day I just try my best. And surprisingly, just trying feels like a small victory. It's been a roller coaster, a relentless tide of emotions. And I'm just trying to navigate it. I want to express my deepest condolences to you, to Liam's family, to his friends, and to the millions of fans around the world. It's a loss that reverberates. It's a loss that changes everything. We all felt it here. On my team, in the studio, it touched everyone. You've chosen to share your story, to step into the light with your pain. Why now? Why here? It really has been a roller coaster. And you offer a sense of comfort. You have a way of holding space, of allowing vulnerability. I genuinely feel safe speaking with you, sharing a part of my life that feels so incredibly raw. And if there's even a chance that by sharing my experience, I can help someone else grappling with grief, with mental health struggles, then I want to do that. I'm not an expert, I don't pretend to be. I'm just living through it, learning as I go, and hoping that my journey can offer some small measure of solace to others. That's incredibly brave, Kate. And I'm grateful for your willingness to be so open. I want to understand a little about who Kate was before Liam, before this unimaginable loss. Tell me about Kate. Your story before it intertwined with his. I grew up in a small town, always a bit of a dreamer. College was about figuring things out. I went to Coastal Carolina University. I knew intellectually that I wanted something, but I hadn't found what. It felt like everyone else had a roadmap, and I was just wandering. So I moved to Charleston with a group of friends, all of us equally lost, equally unsure of what adult life looked like. We took a collective leap of faith, trying to find our footing one day at a time. I ended up getting a job as a server at this restaurant and lounge. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. And that's where I met Liam. That night changed everything. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. I had actually tried to get off work that night. I wanted to balance my social life with my job. I asked my friend who owned the restaurant, and she initially said yes. But then 2 weeks into opening, she needed me. It was hectic. She asked me to work a double weekend. I reluctantly agreed. If I hadn't, I never would have met him. It's a strange thought, isn't it? One small decision, one seemingly insignificant shift in plans, and the entire trajectory of your life is altered. He walked in, I was his server, and the connection was instant. It's amazing how life works. I read that you had a crush on Liam since you were 10 years old. That you even felt somehow that you were destined to meet. Women have a strong intuition, I think. And I was a huge One Direction fan. A fan actually dug up an old Facebook post from 2010, and it was me commenting on a post asking people to choose between Zayn and Liam. And guess who I chose? Liam with an exclamation point. It feels almost preordained looking back. The way we met, the fact that he happened to be in Charleston, the fact that I almost didn't work that night, it all feels like the universe conspired to bring us together. I'd grown up with his music, with the energy of One Direction, and suddenly there he was in front of me. It was terrifying, of course. A little surreal. I remember walking up to his table, my heart pounding, thinking, this is really happening. But he was so humble, so down to earth. You would never have known he was a global superstar. He had this spark, this kindness. It was disarming. We just clicked. The conversation flowed so easily. I wasn't thinking about a future. I was just captivated. He was the boy on my wall, and now he was right there looking back at me. You've described the early days of your relationship as almost a fairy tale. How did that evolve? How did you navigate the reality of his fame, his schedule, building a life together amidst the chaos? He actually extended his flight a couple of days just to stay in Charleston. He was supposed to leave the next day, but he stayed for 3. We spent every waking moment together. We went to the beach, had long dinners, went bowling. We explored the city like tourists. I felt like his tour guide, showing him a side of America he hadn't seen before. And he loved it. I ended up flying to London a week later. And it was seamless. We were inseparable. We'd wake up and plan the day. It felt so natural, so easy. I think I brought out a lightness in him, a joy he hadn't always allowed himself to feel. And he showed me a world I never knew existed. The travel, the experiences, it was exhilarating. He showed me this fairy tale, and I showed him a sense of normality, a grounding force. That balance was crucial. I remember a couple of months in thinking, this is real. This isn't just a whirlwind romance, but it was still surreal. How did it feel to go from being a fan, looking at him from afar, to being the person he chose to share his life with? At first, it was incredibly surreal. I would wake up every day and think, this can't be real. I'd even say it to him. I can't believe this is happening. I was honest about it. I told him I used to have his posters on my wall. He would just laugh and tell me it was okay. But over time, it just became normal. The fame faded into the background. It was just Liam. And he was just Liam. A kind, funny, incredibly talented human being. I focused on who he was, not who everyone thought he was. I think that's what made it work. We built a connection that transcended the noise and the media attention. How did you cope with that? The scrutiny, the opinions, the constant spotlight. It was challenging, especially in the beginning. With boy bands, there's always a fiercely protective fan base. And I understood that. I was one of them. There was a lot of negativity, a lot of judgment. People digging up old photos, criticizing my appearance. It was hurtful. Liam felt terrible. He would constantly apologize, saying he felt responsible. I told him it wasn't his fault, that people will always have opinions. But it was hard to ignore. I learned to develop a thick skin. I learned to focus on the positive, to filter out the noise. But honestly, it's exhausting. One negative comment can outweigh 10 positive ones. It's the nature of the beast. It sounds like Liam was an incredible support through all of that. He was. He'd been dealing with it for years, since he was 14. He knew how to navigate the storm. He taught me to brush it off, to not let it define me. He'd say, "They're just behind a keyboard. Their opinions don't matter." He was my rock. And did you notice, as the relationship progressed, that he was struggling with things beyond the pressures of fame? Were there signs of deeper challenges? He was very open about his mental health struggles. It wasn't a secret. He'd been battling those demons for years, even before we met. And he also struggled with addiction. I think at first I didn't fully understand. I didn't have a family history of addiction, so I didn't grasp the complexities. It was easy to think, just stop, but it's not that simple. Addiction is a powerful force. It's a constant battle. He didn't want to pick up a drink. He didn't want to succumb to those urges. But it was almost like his brain was wired to do so. That was a huge learning curve for me, realizing that this wasn't a matter of willpower. It was a disease. How did you navigate that? How did you support him while also protecting your own well-being? The key was balance. I'm not a homebody. Liam was. And I learned to appreciate that. I tried to create a balance between staying in and going out, between quiet nights and adventurous days. I encouraged him to get out of the house, to experience new things. I'd drag him to museums, to the beach, anywhere just to break the cycle. And I made sure to prioritize my own needs, too. It's easy to get lost in someone else's struggles, to forget to take care of yourself. But I realized I couldn't pour from an empty cup. I had to nurture my own well-being in order to be a strong support for him. Did you feel like he was making progress? That he was moving in the right direction? It was up and down. 5 steps forward, 3 steps back. He was incredibly strong, incredibly resilient. He would fight so hard. But then there were setbacks. It was a constant cycle. But overall, I would say yes, he was making progress. He was committed to getting better. He was in therapy. He was trying. And that in itself was something to be proud of. Let's talk about how you found out. On that day, where were you? What do you remember? I was in Florida. About 3 days after I'd left Argentina. I was at home alone with our dog, Nala. I was on the couch, and I got a phone call from one of Liam's friends. He said Liam fell from a balcony. My first thought was, that must be a rumor. There's no way. He didn't mention anything about death. I started making calls, trying to get confirmation. No one was answering. And then his friend called back and he said, Liam's gone. He said, Liam's dead. And in that moment, I still couldn't believe it. It just didn't register. It felt impossible. I kept saying, no, no, no. There must be a mistake. I just kept repeating it over and over, like if I said it enough times, it wouldn't be true. Our housekeeper arrived shortly after, and she just held me. She brought me water, tissues, my friends came over. It was a blur. I was pacing, crying, numb. It was the most surreal, terrifying experience of my life. I was supposed to be trying on my wedding dress. I was supposed to be wearing white, not black. What was the last conversation you had with Liam? What do you remember about those final moments? We had such a beautiful last day. We were in the countryside in Argentina. We went horseback riding. It was perfect. We had this long, heartfelt goodbye. We always had those. Our goodbyes were never quick. They were always filled with I love yous and long hugs. It was a ritual. And I remember him laughing, saying, "You're going to miss your flight." I was going on and on about how much I loved him, how much I was going to miss him. And he just laughed and hugged me tighter. He said, "We have all the time in the world. It's ironic, isn't it? We thought we did." And it was just the last time I touched him, the last time I held him, the last time I heard his voice. Did you want to fly to Argentina? I did. Initially, I did. But after talking to my friends and my mom, I realized it was better to be surrounded by my support system. I didn't know anyone in Argentina. I needed to be home. What was the next morning like? That first full day after finding out? Numb. Utterly numb. I didn't sleep at all. I just kept replaying the phone call in my head, trying to make sense of it. My friends stayed with me all night. They took my phone, deleted social media. They knew I couldn't handle seeing the news, the tributes, the speculation. It was just too much. I think one of the hardest things was realizing that this wasn't a nightmare. This wasn't something I could wake up from. It was real. And it was permanent. How have you been? Coping with the grief? What's been helping you navigate this unimaginable pain? It's a process, and it's not linear. Some days are better than others. I try to maintain a routine, even if it's just small things. Walking the dog, going to the gym, but mostly it's the letters. Liam wrote me so many letters. He was a beautiful writer. He would leave them hidden around the house, little notes of love and encouragement. I read them every day. They're a lifeline. When I read his handwriting, I can almost hear his voice. It's like he's still here, talking to me. I also see signs everywhere. Little reminders that he's still with me. A song on the radio, a feather on the ground, a recurring number. I believe he's sending me messages, letting me know he's okay. You brought one of those letters with you today. Would you be willing to share it? This was early in our relationship. He always paired gifts with letters. He was so thoughtful. The reason I picked this watch out for you is because it doesn't have any numbers on it. And my love for you is endless. It literally means eternity. So now every time you look down at your wrist, you can know and remember that my love for you is timeless. We have all the time in the world to learn our love language for each other. and I hope and pray that I get this right for you with every tick and every tock this watch makes. From the second onwards, I love you with all my heart, Keelan, and I won't lose you. 44. He always ended his letters with 44. It was our number. And he gave me this watch. It's a small thing, but it means everything. He always made everything feel special. Even getting coffee. He'd send me on scavenger hunts to find gifts he'd hidden around the house. Every gift had a story. Every moment was filled with intention. It's such a beautiful gift, and so clearly representative of the depth of your connection. What do you wish Liam could have experienced? What do you think he would have felt if he could have seen the outpouring of love after his passing? I just wish he could have known how loved he truly was. He knew it to an extent, but I think he needed to see it to feel it on this scale. He deserved to see the impact he had on people's lives. He deserved to be celebrated. And he is being celebrated. It's bittersweet, knowing he's not here to witness it. But I take comfort in knowing that his legacy will live on. And I think he'd be proud. What has this experience taught you? What has shifted within you? I think I've realized how fragile life is. How quickly things can change. I used to worry about the small stuff, the trivial things. Now I just try to live in the moment, to appreciate every day. I've learned to take risks, to say yes to opportunities, to not be afraid to chase my dreams. Because you never know what tomorrow will bring. And I'm living my life for Liam now. I'm doing things that would make him proud. I'm trying to be strong, to be brave, to be the person he always believed I could be. Kate, thank you. Thank you for your courage, your vulnerability, your honesty. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I know it wasn't easy. And I truly believe that your words will offer comfort and hope to so many people who are grappling with loss. If you're listening and you've lost someone you love, please remember that you're not alone. Allow yourself to grieve. Seek support. And remember that even in the darkest of times, there is still light to be found. And remember, as Kate so beautifully shared, the power of a handwritten letter, the importance of cherishing those small moments, and the enduring strength of love. Everything in nature grows only where it's vulnerable. So a tree doesn't grow where it's hard and thick, does it? It grows where it's soft and green and vulnerable.